Hi, my name is Kathy Fitzgerald, and today we're going to be covering Section F. This is a continuation of looking at the Intellectual and Developmental Disability Waiver, or the IDD waiver. And I want to talk a little bit in this segment about the types of services and supports that the waiver actually provides. And in this section, we're going to talk about things in units as the state of Alaska looks at them as billing sections, but they're really opportunities for we as families to think about how we want things to happen in that type of category. So one of the first things that you have to do, if you remember correctly, once you're drawn for an IDD waiver, is to identify a care coordinator. And that is because it is such a critically important job. That service is the only service that you are required to have with a waiver. You can choose not to have any other kinds of services that you don't want, but you must have a care coordinator. So what does the care coordinator do again? Well, the care coordinator is responsible for pulling all of the paperwork together, for explaining to families and individuals what the service system is, what kinds of things are out there and are available to help them, both paid through the waiver and just regular communities types of services and supports that anybody can access through the community. So paid and non-paid supports, if you will. And their job is to almost be quality assurance in some ways. They're checking in twice a month, at least once a month in person, to make sure that the services and supports that are written in the plan of care are actually happening. So their job is to check in and see how things are going. They observe what kind of interaction is happening, and in that way can make recommendations and let you know that things really are going as they should be going. If they're not, then the care coordinator's job is to let the guardian know something doesn't seem quite right. Perhaps we need to go back to the agency and talk about what's really happening. So really, a care coordinator's job is to pull all of that information together, all of the background materials that are needed to actually obtain a waiver, and then to monitor that the things that they've written or helped you write in the plan of care are actually happening. And one final aspect I want to talk about, because I think it's really important in the role of care coordination, and that is to be an advocate for the individual, to really look at what's needed. And if a family, for example, says, I think I need X, Y, and Z, and as a care coordinator, that care coordinator doesn't think that it's possible to do that, or it's not generally approved, their job is still to write that. Now, if I as a family said I wanted 600 hours of respite, the care coordinator's job is to tell me, well, regulations say that there's a hard cap of 520 hours, but if you really want me to write it in there, I will. So their job then again really is to present what the individual or the family says would make a difference in their lives, and then to advocate for those services and supports by way of how they write and follow up with that plan of care. So I'd like to wrap this section up by saying again how important care coordination is. Again, the federal government thinks it's so important that it's the only one that's required. I happen to believe that there are an awful lot of really wonderful care coordinators out there, Most of them now are independent care coordinators, not associated with any agency. But do your homework and check around to make sure that you're meeting with and having a care coordinator that works well with you and your family. So the next section that we're going to be talking with you about has to do with the services and the supports that the care coordinator is actually going to be writing into your plan of care. Remembering again, these are billing units, but from the state's perspective, but from your perspective, they're the things that you want to have happen in the next 12 months.